Welcome to our fifth video in the series on building your own roller crimper. In our last video, we discussed how to assemble the crimping blades and affix the blades onto the rolling drum. In this video, we'll show you how to cap the drum ends with axles in place and reinforce the longer 11-foot center drum. To cap the ends of the drums, we used 1/2 inch thick steel plates. Plates were laser cut from scrap metal produced by a local manufacturer with a 1 3/4 inch hole laser cut into the middle to allow the axle to run through. Before cutting the end cap plates, be sure to measure the inside diameter of each drum opening, as we discovered there were minute differences between our 3 drums that were supposed to be the exact same diameter. For our 2 6'8" wing drums and 1 center 11-foot drum, we used axles that spanned the entire length of each drum, which simplified the manufacturing process by making it easier to ensure the axles were centered in the drum. We felt this also gave the longer center drum more stability. 1 3/4 inch solid steel bars served as our axles. Steel bars had a 6-inch overhang on each end of the crimper drums to allow enough length for the axles to extend into the brackets that secured the drums to the disc frame. Any excess can be cut off as needed. Before you start welding the end caps and axles into place, dry fit all your drum components together to ensure everything fits properly. At this stage, it's helpful to grind the inside edge of the drum tube at a 30 to 45 degree angle. This serves 2 purposes. First, it cleans up debris left over after cutting the drums to length with a torch. And second, the angle provides a groove with more surface area to create a stronger weld. Once you're sure all drum components fit well together, it's time to start assembling the drums. It's helpful to have a friend during this process to help maneuver and hold the parts into place. We'll start with the wing drums because they're simpler. Begin by running the steel axle bar through the drum. Next, with a friend, insert the steel plates over each end of the axle bar until 1/2 or 3/4 of each end cap plate is inside the tube. Go around the end cap with a square to make sure the end caps are square with the body of the drum. Now it's time to tack the end caps into place. Because our end caps did not fit exactly perfectly into the opening of the drums, one person lifted up on the axle until the end cap was centered in the drum opening, while the other person tacked the end cap into position. Be sure to check the end cap remains square to the drum while tacking. Once both end caps are tacked into position, go ahead and weld the entire outside edge of the end caps to the drum. It's okay to complete this weld in steps to prevent metal heating and warping. Now it's time to tack and weld the axle into its final position. To do this, simply center the axle so the overhang is equal on each end of the drum, and then tack the axle into position on each side. When ready, apply the finishing welds around the entire edge where the axle meets the end caps. Now, simply repeat these steps for the opposing ring roller. It's now time to finish the longer center crimper drum. This drum is assembled exactly the same as the wing drums, except for one simple modification. A steel plate was inserted into the center of the drum to add axle strength. This steel plate was the same as the plates used to cap the drum ends, except that 3 small notches were cut into the perimeter. These notches allow water to flow evenly from one side of the drum to the other when water weight is needed to adequately crimp thick cover crop stands. To insert the steel plate into the center drum, weld the special notched plate to the center of the axle, making sure the plate is square to the axle bar. Next, cut rectangular holes into the center of the drum where the center notched plate will reside. Insert the axle and central plate into the drum, making sure the plates line up with the holes in the drum. Cap each end of the drum with end caps the same as before on the wing drums. Lastly, use a fillet weld to secure the center steel plate into place with the rectangular holes you cut into the center of the drum, bringing the weld up flush to the surface of the roller drum. The axle can then be welded to the end caps the same as before. At this point in our roller crimper build, you should congratulate yourself on getting a lot of the hard work done. Only a few more steps and you'll be crimping cover crops. In the next video, we'll be mounting the rollers to our equipment frame and finishing a few last-minute additions. See you soon.